Stay humble. So pretty much know yourself. Don't let negative actions in your life or anything negative that you may be going through allow you to make negative decisions.
This is Dave Meltzer with Entrepreneur the Playbook, and you might wonder who this young superstar is, Taurean Prince.
How you doing, man?
Thank you for coming to the Playbook.
Me.
Well, I've done a little bit of background, and a lot of people know you just as the starting small forward for the Atlanta Hawks.
Right.
But there's a lot more to you, and I love stories where people, from even how big you were going into high school was a challenge, right? You were my size, maybe a couple inches, 5'9", right? When you were going to high school, and like Dennis Rodman, you had this great growth. But I think before you even had your physical growth, you had character growth, and you were born into a family with a lot of challenges. Mm-hmm. How did that affect your will, that persistent behavior that you have?
I think it just motivated me to keep going, not let the negatives really be a reason my actions transpired into negative things. So I just kind of kept the positive mindset of knowing where I wanted to get.
One of the biggest factors when we're in those circumstances, and I think the biggest challenge for entrepreneurs, is what other people think.
Right.
And when you're surrounded in difficult situations, everybody is the first to tell you how you can't do stuff. Mm-hmm. And in fact, worse than even telling you can't do, they start offering things that you shouldn't do. Mm-hmm. How did you deal with the biggest challenge that other people have, which is not listening to the noise?
I think that just came with the situations that growing up, I was only with my family in those situations. So that's kind of like the life we've built for each other and the mindset that I come with as far as outside noise coming in or people saying things negative, and any way it may be, I just kind of tone it out because I know I'm on the road to a mission that is for me and my family.
And I know growing up with your family, do you have any other influences, like books that you read, teachers, coaches, anybody else that kind of helped you to focus in on, because you're very focused on your trajectory, right?
Yeah.
You're very focused on what you're doing.
Well, I don't let a lot of people in, so I mean, I could probably go back to some teachers. Sophomore year, high school, Miss McGann, she was somebody that really made me lock in the classroom. But as far as hoops, probably my father, my old trainer, his name is John Collins from San Antonio, and just my family, just knowing what we talk about every day, think about every day, and just stay on course.
Awesome. And a lot of people limit their point of entry as well. And when you're a great athlete, you get pulled in all types of directions.
Right.
I know you played football and basketball. How difficult was it of a decision which way to go?
Well,
because you did give up football, right?
Yeah, but my dad and my family told me about like the money situations as far as football and basketball go when making the decision to stop playing football. So that money's not guaranteed. And
that a boy.
Basketball's inside too. I'm a big fan of being comfortable, so I like playing inside.
It's really hot in San Antonio, so it's a lot easier to be the air conditioned.
Texas guy, so that heat is serious out there. So yeah, just picking that way and sticking to it and knowing what I wanted to do.
Now, it's not as if, you were going to be the first guy picked. I mean, like literally,
Right.
You worked so hard through high school, first of all. I'm sure at 5'9", everybody wasn't looking at you going, hey man, you're gonna be a professional for sure. And then by your senior year, you're 6'7", is that right? Mm-hmm. And now, you go and you get playing college, right? Get drafted, first round, immediately traded to the Hawks. And then into the G League.
Yeah, for a little bit.
Yeah, and then not like you walked into a starting position as well. And a lot of people, the reason I tell that is there's an acceleration in growth that occurs, and there's certain people that just take everything step by step. They don't let their ego get in the way and come and say, hey, I'm a first round pick, I should be playing.
Yeah.
Right? How do you even put me here? How did you deal with your ego through all the big accolades, but also the setbacks?
I think I kind of just, like I said, know what I wanted to do, and I know the end results. And from the moment I got to Atlanta, I knew that I wanted to start at some point in time, whenever the opportunity rose. And I just had serious talks with Coach Bud, who's now the coach in Milwaukee, about taking certain things serious, whether it was in the weight room or knowing the plays or other things of that nature. And I started to do that as time went on. I took advantage of my assignments going to the G League, and I think that helped my growth as far as knowing what to do as a player to get better. And then when my opportunity rose, he threw me in the fire and started the last, I think, 14, 15 games, and along with the playoffs that we went to.
That was amazing. Yeah. And then also financially, one of my biggest concerns from being a previous sports agent. When I was a sports agent, the story was still the same. 75% of all players were bankrupt 2.5 years after playing. Even though the numbers are extraordinary of what players can make today, especially basketball players, I think one of the questions a lot of people have are like, how do you make financial decisions? Because there's no way, and I know this as an agent, there's no way you know as much about business as I know, right? And so, but yet you have a very close circle. There's no way you can trust everybody, and everybody's hitting you up for everything. How do you deal with your this great wealth that you get, and financially being prudent and secure and literate with what you do? What's the approach that you take with your money?
Well, it depends on the situation, obviously. The gratitude of money, which someone may be asking for, or that you want to get or buy something with. But I go through probably like two people, probably about two people before I ever make a decision, whether it's buying something big or putting money towards something, and they make the decision, and I kind of like disagree or agree, and we have that type of context. And more than not, I spend my money on the right things, especially being that I have 2 children now. So I'm kind of way more mindful than I probably was my rookie year.
A lot changed when you had your first daughter, right?
Right.
Yeah, a lot changed. What were the things that changed the most when you became a parent?
What comes from not being yourself or your spouse. It comes from being 3 people now. You got to feed 3 people, and clothes, shoes. It just all ties in, and it adds up, as people would say. And you got to start thinking for yourself and your family more than you, pretty much. So when it comes to that, you start thinking of other people, then you start thinking other ways to benefit them more than yourself. And I think financially, you got to make sure they're good. That's
awesome. And then, you have this longer career in basketball, and you have a great trajectory now. When do you start thinking about what can I do off the court, whether it's for business or philanthropy? Are you currently, looking at those types of things for yourself to build skills, knowledge, mentorship on how to build your own brand, how to build your own business while you're playing, or are you going to wait until after you're done?
No, I think it's big to do it while you're playing. Those who start like right when they're ending or right when they're done, I think they're kind of behind. So it's kind of harder. And then, so I'm starting now, pretty much, being here with you, talking about the great things we are talking about, and then also being a motivational speaker at some point in time. Also being just a speaker in general to the youth, whether it may be in my city or the city I'm playing in, and doing camps around all the cities, and possibly being a player development coach. So different things like that are on my mind. I want to write a book one day.
I can help you with that.
Right. So there's a lot of dreams and aspirations. I think starting the blueprint now will help me in the long run.
One of the things that I like most about you is you do camps for the kids, but you don't charge anyone.
Right.
Why is it important to provide that opportunity to everyone?
I think it's important because, like myself, at one point in time, I didn't have the means to be able to do camps and things like that. So I started late. I was a late bloomer in the basketball world. So to give a kid an opportunity to play basketball and have fun for 3-4 hours out of the day, maybe for a couple of days or one day, I think it's an opportunity that they want to take advantage of and that they may never forget.
And to that respect, do you think it's more important for kids, you've played at the highest level,
Right.
I think it's more important for them to learn about the character side of athletics, you know, the teamwork, the leadership, the inspiration, the discipline, all of those great characteristics that we learn, even more than the skills on the court?
Yeah, because I think that, I mean, the skills on the court, I mean, that's what you live for, that's what you do on the daily. I think that's the easy part in my opinion. It's what you do on the outside, whether you're working out extra or dealing with the people you deal with on the daily, making sure you treat them right, being on time. That's something that I've gotten a lot better with, even being a professional. Just doing all the little things to make sure that you're a good person and someone that somebody wants to work with, in a sense. And I think if you do that, I mean, it makes basketball that much easier.
And what advice would you know, so many kids want to be professional athletes, and you know better than anyone the percentages, how difficult it is to be in the NBA, for example, let alone any other league. If, you know, you see that 15-year-old kid and, you know, maybe he's 5'9",
right,
and, you know, he says, man, I want to be just like you. What advice can you give me, you know, to become what you are? What advice would you give him?
One, stay humble. So pretty much know yourself. Don't let negative actions in your life or anything negative that you may be going through allow you to make negative decisions. Stay positive always. Keep your family first, and then obviously work hard. If you want to play college, you gotta have the grades to be able to do that, obviously. So I think just stay true to yourself and just continue to work. And I mean, the more work you put on something, the better you get on it. The better you get at it. This is how it is. So just work hard.
And you're one of those people, you had a lot of struggles and challenges. You had one parent at one time, another parent that was incarcerated at times. You had all these different things happening in your life. How did you overcome, you know, those biggest challenges of, you know, not, you know, quitting? You know, was there ever a time that you wanted to quit?
No, I don't think I've necessarily thought of I need to quit. But when my pops was going through what he was going through, I think that just made me and my mother stronger, our connection deeper. And then when I was able to go live with him for my middle school years, that was just time that we needed to catch up as a father and son. And so us doing that made us stronger. And then when I had to move back with my mother, it just filled the void really. And he's always been there since I was born. There's never been a problem with that. And he's pretty much the reason I think the way I do nowadays, how strong-minded I am. And I don't know, I thank both of them for it.
Yeah, I'm the same with my parents. I always say that, you know, as many mistakes that my father made, that he paid the dummy tax for me. Right. He paid it, and he ended up learning and then teaching from what he learned.
And a lot of the things that they do, they probably know what's coming out of it, but they may not benefit from it, but we may as kids, as their children.
Yeah. You have a lot of great philosophies. What one philosophy do you kind of live to, whether it be with gratitude, humility, forgiveness? I've read all these different things about you.
Right.
You know, what philosophy do you stand by when things do get tough? Is there some straight philosophy about life?
To be honest, it's just you got to stay open-minded. I think a big one for me is the one I've already said is don't let negative situations allow your actions to become negative.
Yeah.
I feel like if you flip it and just think positive and do positive things towards negative situations, it'll cancel out. And
you're evolving now. It's one thing to make the team and become a starter.
Right.
Coming into next season, you're actually going to be a leader. You got a really young team, really good team.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to step it up to a different level. I think it's the same in entrepreneurship. When we have a startup, you kind of get going, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden you got a real company. You starting to have to manage people, and you have to be the example. You know, do you have for you any fear about being a leader, or are you confident in stepping into that role and kind of taking that on?
Nah, I'm never in fear of being a leader. I'm a leader right now in my own household. So having kids, having to be the father of my little brother since he was born, due to his father passing before he was born, I think I'm born for it, built for it. Just need to be thrown in the fire and just put in that situation. And I know I'll thrive, but Trey Young, Kevin Herter, Amari Spellman, and all those guys back down there, John Collins, they're all working hard. I know they are, and we're gonna be great. We're gonna be great. Playoffs for sure. You heard it first.
And a lot of guys on the off season, they use it to relax. Some people push it to the next level. Which strategy do you take?
I take 21 days off exactly. And then,
Exactly.
Yeah, 3 weeks, and then I'm back to it.
Do you still love basketball as much as you did?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And last question. You got a long career ahead of you and a long life ahead of you. Right? What legacy, when it's all said and done, do you want to leave?
That he cared about the people around him.
Oh, that's
That he put the people around him in position to be successful, whether it be with whatever they want to do in life. That he was able to show them, not show them the way, but lead them into the right situations and allow them to have a great life.
That's awesome. We got Taurean Prince, whether he is elevating his family to elevate himself or elevating his team to elevate himself, he is putting others first, and that's what I most love about him.
For sure.
This is Dave Meltzer with Entrepreneurs, The Playbook.